Okay, so hello fellow geology buffs. So what we're going to try and see today is the clay quarries that they done in this parklands. So this is in the Dargo Formation, so you won't be finding any fossils, but it is interesting place to see. So if we have a look here, well, you can see this is the Dargo Formation itself, and the Dargo Formation is a sandstone, but it does have siltstone and mudstone interbedded. So you can see the laminations in between the rocks. So here's the laminations, and this looks like a thick bedding. So you got thick bedding with thin laminations. This one looks like an iron concretion. So you can see it's quite thick, so this has probably been eroded out, and there's some insects in there. So this one looks like the mudstone. Now you won't find any fossils in here, as I've said before, and a lot of this is deep to shallow sea marine sediment. Oh, did I say deep shallow sea? I think it's shallow sea. And here we have some siltstone. So siltstone, quite nice. And then you break it, and this part is quite eroded. So, and you can see on the hillside. So if we look at the geological map, so where the basalt was up here. We are roughly in this section here, so the quarry is up there. So this is the Dargo Formation, and it's about 380 million years old. Silurian, upper Dargo Formation. And here we have the Anderson Creek. So somewhere over that side. So probably just, yeah, is across the road there. So over the other side of the hill is that. So we have a here you go, anticline. So that's the anticline. This is the I would say it's conformity, because it conforms into each other. So this looks like a siltstone, not a sandstone. So obviously the siltstone is quite extensive. So, but that is quite nice. It's like chalky. And so when I've looked at all the Dargo Formation, I haven't really found that much sandstone in it. So this map is quite old. It's like 40 years old, so maybe they've updated the actual formation. So here we have a description of the Dargo Formation. It says it is mudstone units, so this is more like siltstone, overlain by graptolite beds consisting of mudstone and some sandstone. So they have described it. Edwards defined Dargo Formation as lower mudstone rich units with Dargo sandstone, and well, it does have fossils in it. Forming Highlands member, Dargo Formation is probably time equivalent to Hume Vale siltstone. The units mapped as a Dargo Formation in Melbourne area. Okay, Dargo Formation, yeah, so there, and here it just says the extent of the actual formation. So let's go and see more of this formation. So as you can see from this formation, it does have a cable in it. Obviously this has been bored before. It is quite fractured as well. So you can see the soil that it turns into, like a brownish colour. And So this is a siltstone, not a sandstone, as it indicates on the geological map. So here we have, and it does have graptolite fossils. So here we have, so this looks like an iron concretion, probably due to weathering of the rock. And here we have some lamination. So this is not a thick bedded, it's thin bedded, and you can see the laminations in there. So generally a lamination in a rock is less than 1 centimeter, and a bedding is more than 1 centimeter. So you got bedding here, and you got lamination, bedding, lamination. That's not a overarching truth, you know. People could use different interpretations on bedding and lamination. And here we have some more siltstone, mudstone, siltstone. It depends on the grain size, which I can't tell from a mud or silt, mostly. So I reckon that's a siltstone. I can sort of see some grain sizes, but you can't tell that it is as extensive as silt. Okay, some more, and as you can see, it's covered in a lot of talus, so a lot of rock that's eroded out and just fallen down. So yeah, this is a very interesting walk. Before I saw the Greensboro basalt, and that was, even though it's been quarried, it's still there. As you can see, this tree is grown through the actual rock, so you can see the laminations in the rock. And have a look at these. So these are called pied currawongs. Very curious bird. Native to Australia. Okay, can you bloody camera. Okay, and they're looking for insects to eat. So maybe you should do a bird channel, because I like bird watching. It's quite enjoyable. Better than watching cricket or whatever. But we're here for geology. So you can see this has been pushed up by the tree itself and been pushed aside. And as you can see, it's a massive bedded, but you know, I'm just rambling here. So what should I say? So how did this formation form? Well, this was a deep sea. I think, oops, upside down. Okay, so about 380, 400 million years ago, this was a deep sea. That's why it's silt and mudstone, because only the waters are very shallow. And this looks like the clay pit quarry here. So they would have just cut the side of the actual hill. As you can see, this is quite steep, so probably extensive cutting has been going on. So yeah, so this would have been a quiet environment, like a deep sea ocean. So I'm just reading up on the geology. I haven't really gotten into Victorian geology before, but it's just very interesting. So what we had was the Buchan orogeny. So we just say that this is the Buchan zone, so that's in eastern Victoria. Then in western Victoria we had the Grampian zone. So these two were affected by mountain building, and in between we had a ocean. So when these two mountain ranges were formed, this was probably more of a shallow ocean, and was developed from a deep erosion. But my knowledge of this is not 100%, but they call it the Tasmanian fault zone. Tasmanian fault zone? Something like that anyway. I need to look it up. And eventually this was infilled with sediment from probably both sides, but probably also from the south. That's what I've read anyway. So here we have some more siltstone. It's quite a nice rock. So it looks like it's got iron that's been eroded or just left there from the rock. And as you can see from this side of the hill, so now I'm testing my knowledge, which is not really that much. You can see that this is extensively eroded, so you might confuse it with laminations in the actual rock. You can see sort of some laminations here. This looks like massive. You can see the different coloured laminations. Looks like laminations, but it's probably just one massive formation. If you break it open, then you might be able to tell the difference. So I need to get a cordless microphone because I've got one with cord and I keep on pulling on it, which makes the camera go all over the place. So here you can see bedding. So you can see the laminations within that rock. So a lot of laminations, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, and here, yeah, it's quite nice. So how this sedimentation ended was there, how do you pronounce it, Tasmanian orogeny. So there was a mountain building period, I think about 350 million years ago, that pushed this area up into a mountain range. And supposedly it was eroded in the Carboniferous. And as this is highly faulted as well as fractured as well, so its faulting indicates it's probably deep underground, so this would have been the closer to the bottom of the mountain range. It's been eroded, and while there was glaciation in the Permian, that's more to the east, and most of that's been eroded away. So very interesting. And ever since the end of the Permian, this has probably been somewhat of stable, so it's just been slowly being eroded. That's as far as I know. I haven't read any information about any mountain building since that period, although there is let's go down there. There is a ongoing hypothesis that this area is continuously being pushed up. So it's the mountain range is continuously uplifting this area, and that's why it's still at a higher elevation. Because if you look at stable areas, cratons, they're usually quite flat. And the mountain ranges that were built up on there are pretty low these days. And as you can see, this is a few hundred meters above sea level. Although this has been revegetated, it was revegetated quite a long time ago. So it looks like we have a ironbark. And here we go. So I haven't seen any sandstone as of yet. So I reckon the sandstone is probably not very extensive. And if it's here, the sandstone is probably from a turbidite. So you have like a, so just as the continental shelf and the slope, this is a continental, no, this is the deep ocean. And what you have all the sand being built on here. And when there is a strong energy input, and there is like a valley, then sometimes the sand can be pushed down into the deep ocean, so it form part of the sediment of the deep ocean. So that's, hopefully I can get better at explaining stuff like that. And so far I haven't found any fossils. Usually if a rock has extensive fossils in it, then you would find it by now. But as you can see, all this rock has no fossil formations, even though graptolites are said to be in it. Looks quite nice though. Okay. As you can see, it's been quite extensively eroded. Not surprised, considering it's been at the surface for hundreds of millions of years. And you can see how deep the soil profile is. That's at least 1 meter. And because it's easy, we have rabbits that burrow into the rock. And here we have extensive erosion of the formation itself. So this is caused because all the vegetation's been removed. And wow, look at that. So when this place is revegetated, it's less likely this will be eroded quite extensively. Okay, so here on the other side there is the actual quarry, so I'll walk around there. Oh, another pied currawong. Looks pretty young. And that's the bird that you hear. They're it's a pied currawong. Hello. There you are. So this is one of my favourite Australian birds. So the thing is about being in the bush is that, you know, these acacias are very interesting in how these evolved, as well as the eucalypts. You know, you've got 600 to 700 different species of eucalypt. Obviously it's just recently diverged in the past 15 million years as Australia's dried out and it's speciated quite extensively. I reckon that if probably in the next 100 million years these will evolve into different phyla, and you know, a lot of these species will become extinct. Probably a majority of them will become extinct, and they won't evolve into any other species. So, very Cassinia. I like this plant, Cassinia. Very interesting. I used to have it in my front yard, and here we go. Dragonfly. So what I'm getting at is when I'm in the bush, I don't just focus on the rock, I focus on the biology as well, because they both integrate, and the amount of erosion is affected by the trees, and also the type of trees that and plants and grasses that inhabit this area is affected by the geology. So the Dargo Formation is nutrient poor, so it needs plants that require or can extract as much nutrients as it can from its own habitat out of the soil and rock. Maybe lots of pied currawongs over there. Okay, let's move on. And as you can see, the Dargo Formation's pretty much eroded into a soil. So I'm not up on soil. See, even the soil's very interesting. You've got lots of bacteria and fungi that inhabit the soil, and they do also form a symbiosis with the plants, and then the plants form a coexistence with the animals that inhabit the forest. A lot of the time they need each other. Okay. Very extensively eroded, so this is obviously the clay pit that we saw here. So what would they have used this rock for? Well, if they're using it for clay, they can use it for quite a lot of things. So they probably used, it's probably like 30 or 40 pied currawongs here. Very interesting. Never seen so many before. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, there's a magpie. Two magpies. You can tell because the back is white. Pied currawong's black. Even the magpies sound beautiful. And they have a white beak as well. So, during the Silurian, there were no land plants, so... Oh, wallaby. So wallaby are by colour. The thing about wallabies is that they're solitary, so you only see one. So here we are at the quarry, and you can see the pavement. So this is, looks like the strike and dip is something like that. So you got 0, got 90. So this is probably close to 80, and looks beautiful. So obviously this is extensively folded. So let's have a look at the actual quarry face. This video has become quite long. Who cares? Okay, so here we looking at the Dargo Formation. It's quite interesting. And as you can see, it's been faulted, so you got 0, you got 90, so about 45-degree angle this folding is. What did I say? Folding. They sound similar anyway. And it has since the quarrying time, so this has been exposed fresh when it was quarried. You can see how it looks rounded, so it's been extensively eroded since that time. And if we look at this rock here, okay, come on, this gimbal doesn't want to play ball. Okay, you can see how it's made of siltstone, how it's starting to foliate, so it's starting to break down. So this has been affected quite heavily by weathering. So if we have graptolites, I reckon you're more than likely to find them in the sandstone. Can we see any? Okay, so looks like we have mudstone here. More mudstone. Might be a sandstone there. But you can see how it has massive beds. So these are more than one fix, so they're not laminations, the massive bed structures. But we do have some, oh yeah, looks like here's some sandstone. Yeah, here you go. Looks like it might be sandstone. Feels like it. And as you can see, it looks like it's been cross-bedded as well. So you got the flow structures, it looks like. So that means the water would have come down this way. It makes the flow structure like that, and then the sand grains fall on the other side, and it would have been slowly built up. So here we also have some flow structures. So if we zoom in, you can see, okay, the flow structures going, okay, where am I? Going around here. That broke off quite easily. So it looks like the water flow was down that way. Okay, so the water was flowing that way, it looks like, and it's built up the flow structures. You can quite easily find that information on the internet. And here we have what looks like ripple marks. Wow. And that's actually going to fall off sooner or later. So the ripple marks continue in that fashion. So this would have been one time part of the ocean floor. You can see Very interesting. How about the side of it? So it's obviously a siltstone. And that is very interesting. Here we have a... So I'm not too sure what that is. People might think it's a fossil, but could be, it could not be. It's not anything that I recognise. If it would be, it'd probably be something like a stromatolite. And I don't see any other ripple marks in this area. So is there any fragments of the ripple mark down here? I do not see any. There would be, but if it's eroded, it's probably would have fallen down roughly in this area. Looks like this might be it, and it's a bit thick. And yeah, you got some of the original rock with ripple marks. So it's very interesting to see that here. And you can see around, this has been extensively eroded, so it's not really rock anymore, it's soil, regolith. So the regolith is the pretty much the bottom part. You can see how the dark area has a lot of organics because it's gone dark. The regolith is more down below, which is just broken up rock. And here looks like we might have a fracture fault that's been eroded. And here we have, looks like iron. Here's another lamination. This looks like mudstone, very thin bedded. Underneath we have extensive siltstone. So this formation is actually amazing. So here we have some more of that formation. And if you see up there, we have that thick formation just there. Wow. So let's go and see the rest of the formation over this way. Maybe it just gets more interesting, or maybe that's bad it. Okay, you can see how this formation, it changes in the way it curves. So this has been compressed, and this is almost 90% dip. So you can see the different structures that happen to be in the same rock. So with this formation, this looks like sandstone, and it also looks like it's been indurinated. So it looks like it's very hard to erode. The sandstone, you can damage it with your fingers. So the modern scale of this rock is less than your fingers, but this rock seems to be harder than your fingernails. So this outcrop will last a bit longer than the... So this is a sandstone, this is a siltstone, and you can see it has fine laminations in the sandstone. But the siltstone seems to be, yeah, seems to have fine laminations as well. This has been eroded quite extensively, so it's a bit hard to tell. You need a fresh outcrop, so you need to damage it or take a bit out. But this has been eroded as well. And over here, that might have been Bioterp, so animals burrowing in it. But looking from the side, doesn't look like it. So it looks like it's just got concretions. This looks quite hard as well. So it's indurated. This would last a lot longer than the sandstone here. This is, as I said before, it's quite soft, easy to destroy with your nail, as well as here. So as this erodes, these will disappear, but this will last and probably just fall down. It's a large, extensive. So like this part of formation here, that looks like it is sandstone. So it's easy to damage there. Well, it seems to be quite easy to break. And as you can see, it has a lot of fractures in the rock caused. And you can see here as well a lot of fractures. So that would have been caused because of the pressure of the mountain building process, and that's what we call orogeny. So obviously it wasn't metamorphosed, so the pressure and heat wasn't that great. And this is very interesting lamination as well, and beds. So it depends on, the sandstone looks like it's laminated, so this looks like sandstone itself. And the siltstone and mudstone. So this looks like mudstone. That looks like siltstone. But the thing with the rocks is when they erode, they change a different colour. So it also gets confusing, so that's when you need to use grain size. Beautiful. Okay. Oh, it continues to go around. Looks like nice geometric pattern caused by the differential erosion of the rock. very interesting. Looks like shirt to me. Maybe it might not be. So need to be careful because that can fall down at any time. But and this is a very interesting formation in itself. See, there's another part of the different part of the formation. Go down here. As you can see, it gets a bit dangerous as well. Looks like we have a similar type of formation there as we do up there. Looks like we're coming to the end of the actual quarry. So let me know what you think of this video. I'll leave a comment down below of what information I could have actually put in it, because this is a learning process, and I just started. I've got another 40 years yet in which to educate myself and in the process educate other people as well. The vegetating is getting a bit thick, so let's see if we can walk around. I won't talk that much anymore. And as you can see, the bedding, there's a creek down there, there's a lake, so the bedding here is more 0 degrees, and so you got flat bedding there, and as we walk around you can see it does turn into 45-degree bedding, which is over here. So this would have been more extensively folded. Keep on saying folded. Then this over here, we have ferns down there, so it's quite wet down there. So this is a good place if you want to look at the geology of the Dargo Formation. There you go.